and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandy Grace, the author of a retelling of the legend of Robin Hood known as Return to Sherwood. I never know how to gesture to it without looking awkward and strange, but anyway, that one. Also the sequel, Return to Grace, which is coming out very, very soon, on December 9th. So, because it's publication week, basically. So it's 8 days, but that's kind of a week. Anyway, it's publication week, so every single day I'm going to have a video coming out every day, either about Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, because that's the point, or about some other aspect of my writing, in order to get excited for the 9th. On the 9th, I will have a live stream with several other authors who also have books coming out soon, and we'll be discussing our various works and getting excited about them. Today's video is going to be me discussing the characters in Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace and laying out the main story arcs, because there are a lot of characters, and it can get a little bit confusing even for me, and I know them all, so before we begin, Return to Sherwood, which was published this May, is available. You can go buy it and read it now. And Return to Grace, which is the sequel, and the end of my Robin Hood saga, is coming out December 9th, which is why I'm doing all these crazy videos. So what is this even about? I'm just going to read the back and then you'll know. A Robin Hood story unlike any you've heard before. After being pardoned by King Richard the Lionheart upon his return from the Third Crusade, Robin Hood and his gang of outlaws lived in peace. After Richard's death, however, John Lackland is crowned the King of England. As John battles his nephew Arthur for the throne of England, he is distracted by one singular passion: destroying the outlaw who caused him so much trouble in the past. John's only aim is to kill Robin and his friends, and to that end he hires a mercenary to hunt them down. Forced to flee Nottingham and return to living as fugitives. Reading is hard. Forced to flee Nottingham and return to living as fugitives, Robin and his friends must rely on one another in new ways, make new alliances, learn new skills, and evade the mercenary known as Sir Hugh in order to survive. Book 2. The thrilling sequel to Return to Sherwood. After fleeing Nottingham to escape King John and his hired mercenary known as Sir Hugh, Robin Hood and his remaining gang of outlaws scatter in their attempt to survive. Those in England are caught up in a battle with Sir Hugh. Meanwhile, Robin Hood and the others in France attempt to build new lives for themselves as they evade King John's notice. All this as the lone knight Gilbert is seeking revenge. As fugitives, separated from their loved ones, the gang must decide where their true loyalties lie as they fight to find a way to stop Sir Hugh and the king before they all die. I really like how dramatic this one is, to be honest. I had a hard time writing this synopsis. It was a painful experience, and I had several people help me. But I love how dramatic it turned out when we finished. If you are going to be reading, or have already read, Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, then you can use this video to refer back to and be like, hey, who are these crazy people in this story, and why should I care about them? Also, pro tip, if you haven't read my original Robin Hood series, which I am trying to get out, but it doesn't want to. If you haven't read my original Robin Hood series, or if you didn't know that I had an original Robin Hood series, I wrote Lucy's Legend, which is my first Robin Hood book, back when I was 17. It's not the greatest written, but it's fine. We love it. Anyway, and then I wrote 4 more books following this one, which are all published under slightly different names. I write under Mandy Grace now, but this Robin Hood series is published under Amanda Grace. Don't be confused. Anyway, the point is, if you want a explanation as to why you should care about the people in Return to Sherwood, the easiest option, other than just watching this video, is to read Lucy's Legend, because this is the backstory to Return to Sherwood. Basically. I mean, it used to be the main story, but now it's not, so now it's the backstory. Okay, so who are the characters in this book, and why do we care? I'm going to start with the 3 main story arcs, because there are 3 of them. So, number 1, we have Gilbert and his revenge quest. Gilbert is a sword for hire. He's kind of a knave, and he acts like he doesn't care about anything or anyone, ever. And he sort of doesn't, but also deep down he kind of does. He is an accomplished warrior, and he's cool. He sort of gets dragged into Robin Hood's adventures and the mess that he is in accidentally, but then it becomes personal for him when one of his friends spoiler alert, dies. So he goes with the gang mostly out of revenge and not actually because he's part of the gang. I have never had character art done for any of my books before, but I do have some cosplay from my cousin Candace. So here's Gilbert as Candace as Gilbert. I was going to say Gilbert as Candace, but that doesn't make sense. The other way. Whatever. It's Gilbert. Storyline number 2 is about Ida. Ida is the wife of Alan of the Dale, the mother of 2 of the most crazy toddlers you will ever see. The twins are bananas, but it's fine. She is fierce and she is protective and she loves people very, very deeply. She also has a tendency to hold grudges, and her first impression of you is going to last forever. Particularly if you do something awful in her presence, she will never get over that, and she will not give you a second chance. That's just not how she rolls. She's also super snarky and sarcastic and fun. She's fun to write. I enjoy writing scenes with Ida. And like I said before, I don't have any sort of character art for any of my books, but I do have cosplay for my cousin. So here's Ida. Nope, I was gonna do it again. Here's Candace as Ida. Here's Ida. And that brings us to the last storyline, storyline number 3. That looks like a 6. We're gonna say 3. Storyline number 3. This one's all about Mark, which I love simply because Mark was an afterthought. So 8-ish years ago, when I was writing the first draft of Lucy's Legend, Mark did not exist. He was not a thing. And then I had to add him later because of a copyright issue. So I just snuck him into the story. He was an afterthought. He wasn't supposed to be there, but he was just my way of working around copyright. But anyway, 6-7 books later, Mark is now kind of the main character. I should give a spoiler section or disclaimer for Mark's section. So if you haven't read Lucy's Legend or Return to Sherwood and you don't already know the things about Mark, maybe skip. I'll put a timestamp when I'm editing this. I'll tell you where to jump to if you don't want to know the things. Anyway, so who is Mark? Mark is the younger brother of Maid Marian, who, spoiler alert, is very dead. So yes, Maid Marian is very dead, and that's Mark's, I don't know, demon that he has to wrestle with, because he blames himself because he was right next to her, he blames Lucy because she was there, and he blames the guy who killed, that was funny. He blames the man who killed his sister. He blames anyone who was in the vicinity when Marian died. And then in this particular story, when everything starts going wrong, he blames all of it on Robin's new wife and is like, this is all your fault. Somehow, some way, this is all of your fault. So he's kind of cranky through most of Return to Grace. He's very, very grumpy. Those are the 3 main story arcs. I don't actually have character art or my cousin cosplaying Mark, so you don't get to see what he potentially could look like. Other characters in Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. We have Robin Hood, who is basically Robin Hood. Hold this thought. I'm just going to dig out my Robin Hood story Bible, which I should have done, oops, at the start of this video. My TBR pile just went kaput. Is that even a word? Kaputs. Whatever. It fell down. Stay. Let's go to the beginning. Characters. Aha! Sir Guy of Gisborne. He is my, once was a very bad person, now has been redeemed story. That was very loud. I don't know if you could hear what I was saying. Anyway, the point is, he made some very terrible decisions when he was a young lord, and now he's trying to be better. He's also a husband and a father, and he's super sweet. Obviously, we have Robin Hood. I don't feel like I need to describe Robin Hood. He's Robin Hood. We have Lucy. Lucy is Robin's second wife. Spoilers. I don't know. It's not... There's so much going on in this video that is majorly spoilery for the original Robin Hood series, but I don't know how to make this, like, characters in Return to Sherwood video without being spoilery for the original Robin Hood series. Fair warning. She is a warrior, she is kind, she is a healer. I'm just listing random things about Lucy right now. She can also be a bit self-righteous. I don't know if I would call it that, but she is very wise, and she does know a lot of things, and she is one of the, like, spiritual leaders of the group, but she tends to think that she's always got the right answers, and sometimes she doesn't. Who else we got? We have Alan and Ida. I kind of already talked about Ida because she's one of the main story arcs, but Alan is her husband. He's one of Robin's oldest friends. He went on the Crusades with him and fought in wars, and obviously everyone was a part of the rebellion. We have Little John. He doesn't really do much in my story. He's just sort of there. Sorry, Little John. Much, the miller's son. He's not a miller's son in my story. I mean, he's Much, based off of Much the miller's son, but he is not a miller's son in my story. He's Robin's oldest friend. Will Scarlet. Oh, Will. Will is the actual right hand of the gang, and whenever Robin falters and falls short, Will is like, I got this. I will carry the team. It's fine. Will's the best. Will is my favorite character. He's married to Dusty, who happens to be the amazing healer of the group. She works miracles all the time, and she's also the main spiritual leader of the group. She knows more about that sort of stuff and is wiser than most everyone else. She doesn't try to lead anyone, but she just sort of does. Okay, we talked about Gilbert. The other main player in this series of books, there's only 2 of them, duology? I don't know, whatever. The other main player in Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace would be Sir Hugh, who is the mercenary who is sent by King John to hunt down Robin Hood and all of his gang and kill them. And that's what he tries to do. And lots of shenanigans and craziness happens because of that. That's the main characters, I think. I think I went through all of them. I mean, I was flipping through my thing and reading the names. I wasn't saying all of the spouses because some of them do absolutely nothing in the story, so you can figure it out on your own. Tomorrow's video I'm going to be doing family trees, so you can see who's actually married to who and who their children are and all of that stuff. Because in Return to Sherwood, because I already have my original Robin Hood series, I don't know how to describe this. I tried to write it in a way where you could pick up Return to Sherwood without having read the original Robin Hood and not be completely overwhelmed. However, there's a lot of characters, so if you haven't read Lucy's Legend and already know who's who, it's overwhelming. It just is. And now they all have children, which they didn't have in the original Robin Hood series, so there's even more characters, which makes it even more confusing. So yes, I'm going to have a family tree video tomorrow so that you can refer to it when you're reading Return to Sherwood and be like, who's this person related to and why do we care? I really should put family trees in the back of the book, but I did not do that. Future edition, we will add that.